Hey, it's Liz DiAlto, and this is the Untamed the Wild Soul Woman podcast. From body image, sex, spirituality, money and relationships, to motherhood, creativity, business, communication, and desire, Untamed the Wild Soul Woman is the place to come for real stories and powerful advice to help you reclaim and redefine womanhood in the 21st century. Elizabeth DiAlto here, your host for the Untamed the Wild Soul Woman podcast. Today's episode is called What is Self-Love Really? And what is it not? And we're airing this the week before Valentine's Day on purpose, because those of you that are listening in real time are for sure, in some way or another, feeling or tapping into, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, the collective energy of love, right? Of whether it's that people are celebrating love, feeling inadequate about the love they have in their life. Maybe if someone's relationship is not going well, they're feeling super self-conscious about it because this Hallmark holiday that just shines a big light on relationships is up right now. So whatever it is that you've got going on, whether it's beautiful and amazing or not so much or something in between, I want to call your attention to the most important love, the actual, true, real love of your life, the most important love you'll ever have, which is the love for yourself. Self-love is something that gets talked about often, all the time, and I feel passionate about the way self-love is approached. And so we're going to get all in on the untamed approach to self-love today. And before we dive in, if you are listening to this in real time, I want to invite you over to untameyourself.com/self-love, all one word, starting today on February 10th. 2016, if you're listening in real time. I'm leading a 5-day experience. I'm calling it an experience, not a challenge, because we have enough challenges in our life. I'm not super jazzed about creating more challenges for people, but a 5-day experience where I've picked a theme for every single day to help you connect and have a more felt experience of what real, deep, and true self-love is, how to cultivate it, what it takes, and how to activate it in your own self and in your own life. So it's a free experience. You can enter your name and email at untameyourself.com/self-love. And even if you're not listening to this on February 10th, if you're listening to this at any point between February 10th and February 19th, you'll be able to access the free experience that I have going on over there. So it's okay to be a little late to the train here if that's the case for you. So when I started formulating what I wanted to cover in today's podcast episode, it was a little different than the experience I usually have. Usually, I'm either answering a question or I've got a topic that I just want to sit down and riff on. But for whatever reason, I had so much stuff pouring in, I decided to start writing it out like a blog post. And so kind of like the episode we did a couple weeks back, where I read the chapter from my book, Untamed Yourself, and that was the podcast episode, which I got great feedback from. People really enjoyed that. I wrote out like 2 pages of thoughts. So I'm actually going to read you what I wrote. And of course, I'll stop and I'll interject at points in between here. And this message of self-love was feeling like it wanted to be very clear and very structured and not just not a riff and not a just free-flowing conversation like I usually do on the show, even in these Ask Elizabeth episodes. So here's what I started writing. As I sat down to write some notes about what to cover in this podcast episode, my heart was flooded with the fullness of the message that wanted to come through. I've known pretty much since I started writing my first book, Untamed Yourself, that my next book, or at least another book I would write at some point, would be called Untamed Love. I have a feeling this is one of those episodes that you'll come back to and re-listen to many times, each time taking away a different part of the message that suits you best at the moment. And as I sat down and I started writing all these things, something I remembered was a voice note that I recorded on my phone several years ago. And I went in and somehow across time and space and, 3 iPhone upgrades since, I still had this voice note on my phone. It was dated December 23rd, 2011. And it really marked the first time I ever consciously felt this deep self-love for myself. And that was it. The recording was only 25 seconds. I was still living in Manhattan. I was walking down Stone Street right by my old place in the financial district. And all that note that I recorded in my phone said was, there comes a time where all your talk about loving yourself is no longer talk. And it's actually a very true and a very real feeling. And I am just now on December 23rd, 2011, really feeling that coursing through my body as a felt deep experience for the first time ever in my life. And that felt super cool to remember that and to go back and check and to listen to me then and reconnect with myself almost, a little over 4 years ago and see how far I've come. And it's still going strong. But what's interesting is to notice that self-love, much like your love for other people, for sure, ebbs and flows depending on what's going on in your life. So here's what else I had written down. A lot of very well-meaning self-love advice out there does not get to the root of why you don't love yourself. It only gives you balms and band-aids that feel better for a time and provide results that are fleeting at best. If you want to truly deeply love yourself, it's going to take more than slapping on some red lipstick. You have to get to the root of things, and sometimes what's down there is dark and ugly. This is the first step to untamed self-love, the kind that is willing to courageously move beyond the fears, pains, and struggles to really heal and really love wildly, deeply, and passionately, just like the kind of love we all hope to experience in relationship with others, but directed towards ourselves. You get to have that with yourself too. So what is self-love not? It is not just focusing on the positive things about yourself and what you're grateful for, or doing things that make you feel good for short periods of time, though those things can surely contribute to the endeavor. The elements of self-love, of untamed self-love, are number 1, acceptance, which is honor, approval, and respect for yourself. Number 2 is trust. And trust is defined as firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Confidence, and as I'm saying that, you gotta love, the train of truth goes through. Then there's faith, and really faith and trust go hand in hand. But I wrote down here, faith is trust on steroids, complete trust or confidence in something or someone. And then there's devotion, love, loyalty, or enthusiasm for a person, activity, or cause, unwavering commitment. So those are the 4 elements of untamed self-love: acceptance, trust, faith, devotion, and applying all those things to yourself. So ultimate self-love is never being willing to not choose yourself again, always operating for your highest good, understanding that what you're here on this planet for is to be the fullest, highest, best version of who you are. Mind, body, soul, spirit, emotionally, across the board. So loving every single part of your experience and facet of your mental, emotional, spiritual landscape and everything in between, the full human spirit, soul experience. Self-love takes everything you project out into the world, so how you feel about other people, what's going on in the world, your career, your beliefs, etc., and boomerangs it all back on you. Not in a self-violent way. This is not about shame or blame, although the path to really deeply loving yourself will mean facing your shame, facing the things you're ashamed about, facing the things that you've blamed others for, and taking full responsibility for it in the most loving, accepting way that says, this is all mine. This is all filtered through my lens of life, and I love my lens. I love my perspectives. I love my pain. I love my suffering. I love my low moments and struggles just as much as I love my joy, my bliss, my ecstatic moments, my great accomplishments, the times when I show up as my very best, when people admire and respect me. I love it all, and I want it all, and I'm not going to abandon myself ever, ever again. So real untamed self-love means you love yourself in every moment, and it's a fully felt experience, embodied, meaning it lives, breathes, and courses through your body and permeates your entire existence. It's not an idea that sounds nice to have. It's literally who you are. And related to that, just this morning, I love the divine timing and the synchronicity of things. Just this morning, I was on a call that I run for women. I have ongoing support for women who come to my Untame Yourself weekend retreats. And I was talking to someone who came to my very first one last year, which was in May of 2015. And so she's been coming to these calls ever since, and we've been doing some deep work together. And she was sharing about an experience that she recently had with another person. And she said, I loved this thing that she said. She said, I am love, compassion, and patience, so that's what I give. That is embodiment, where it's not saying, oh, I need to be more loving, compassionate, kind, or patient. It's saying, I am living, breathing love, compassion, and patience. So that is what I give. That is how I show up. So how do you know if you really love you? Love becomes the thing most consistently that you project out into the world. So instead of shame, blame, anger, disappointment, negativity, or anything that isn't love, your most consistent reaction to things is love, is compassion, is kindness. So for better or for worse, just like when people get married, in sickness and in health, in bright, beautiful, shiny times, in dark, yucky, unpleasant times, there is still love. And the love is your infinite supply of fuel to move you through your life. So that is what self-love is. And it might sound like this big, grand, overwhelming task. And the thing is, it is big, it is grand, and it certainly can be overwhelming. But it is the most worthwhile pursuit of your entire life, of your entire existence. It is worth every step on the path. It is worth all the healing. It is worth feeling all the things you need to feel through to get to the place of this solid, unwavering love for yourself. And let me tell you something. If one of your biggest goals is to have a deeply loving relationship with another person, whether that's a romantic partnership, whether that's with your clients or the people that you work with in your career or in your business, whether it's with your students if you're a teacher, your children if you're a parent, whatever are the relationships in your life that mean a lot to you, if you want to see those relationships and the connection and the love go through the roof, get to the place that's like you could call beyond your wildest dreams, come home. Start at home. Love yourself and do it in a way that's real and true and deep and thorough. In this world, we call it untamed self-love. So again, I want to invite you to go over to untameyourself.com/self-love and access that free experience that I'm creating from Wednesday, February 10th to Sunday. It's culminating on Valentine's Day for a reason. So I can't wait to connect with those of you who decide to join in that experience. And anyone else listening, thank you so much for your time. And I would love to know. Come on over. I recently switched our Facebook group at untameyourself.com/Facebook, which is our community hub, our free community hub to have any and every conversation under the sun, has been a public Facebook group. And I recently decided to close that group and make it private. I just had a hunch last week, one morning in my morning reflection, that there were people who were like lurking and watching and reading, but not participating because of the privacy thing. So I made it a closed group, and then boom, overnight, all these women are posting, which thank you if you're one of those people who's stepping in, stepping up, opening up, trusting yourself, putting yourself out there, having the courage and the vulnerability to do that. So the new and improved, we'll call it, space is now closed and now private. So you can go to untameyourself.com/Facebook if you would like to ask a question or continue this conversation around self-love. And especially if you decide to participate in that experience, we would love to hear from you over the course of the 5 days to see what's coming up for you, how you're feeling, and how's it going. So thank you so much. Signing off, and we will see you next week.
What she helped me understand is that based on, just what I'm here to do in this lifetime and my past lives and all that stuff, I'm not a natural mother, right? And I think there are some women who are natural moms and some women who are not. And I know for me, I want to feel like a natural at some point, but I'm learning. And I think that there's this cultural understanding or myth that once a woman has a baby, we all naturally love being a mom and we're like feeling super connected to our children. And it's just not true. And I think it's really sad that we show up with that expectation because then we feel like something's really wrong with us.